right, Mitch, you were dancing the whole time, but and Jerod, I think you said, "Hold on, Nick," right before I push it live. Which whatever the hold on, I mean, you can say now, but it's always how they
All
go.
good.
Yeah, Jerod, I'm gonna start with you, and then Mitch, I'll go to you because I like understanding the journey, and I think it sets up our discussion really nicely. But Jerod, what's your franchise story? How do you fall into franchising?
Yeah, franchising was not an easy decision in our business journey. I'll tell you what, we started a place at home in 2012, over a year of preparation to launch in Omaha, Nebraska. And the discussion of how to grow was one that we started having day one. Franchising was not, at least in my eyes, the very first method of how we would grow. To me, it seemed like the path that all the other companies were taking, and I wanted to try a different path, maybe the one least taken. But over the years and understanding and knowing what a place at home had to offer, we knew we wanted to expand and provide that across the country. Through years of deliberation and research, we found that having a franchise system would help to ensure we gave the best possible care. We'd have owners that had buy-in to to their location, to their caregivers, to their clients, that are willing to help and do what it takes to own the business. We didn't necessarily see that level of commitment from somebody hired to manage. And so that's how we decided to franchise, is we wanted that extra level of commitment from our owners, and therefore having that extra level of care for our seniors.
Jerod, go back one more inch. If you didn't, before you decided to franchise, did you understand what franchising was? Did you understand the complexities of it?
Had a fairly good understanding of franchising and what it was. Got the understanding from years in business college, actually. And, while getting my undergraduate, franchising didn't have the best kind of connotations around it. So we had professors saying, you're going to lose control, you're going to lose profits. Why would you not just want to go for the 15, 20% net margins versus the 4 to 6% royalties that you're going to get? So some of that formed a lot of the reasons why I wasn't immediately okay with going into franchising, is because basically in business college, you don't really learn that franchising is the right way to grow.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I'm always fascinated by the perspective of what franchising is, and even you could go further back to when you're a teenager on what it is. And there's two areas that I think have set the tone, and I'll give a comment on the professor in a second. But one is McDonald's. What was special about it early stages was it was celebrated that there's an owner operator, that you knew this was Nick's McDonald's in the community. And Nick was very proud of owning the McDonald's, and everybody knew that this person invested their life savings into owning the business. And then as time went on, it just turned into, it's the brand. Like it's a brand, it's not owner operator. Second thing, if you look back at like everybody's checks, how employees are paid, usually it would say McDonald's, DBA of insert brand on the bottom of it. And so to the employee, they're like, he basically just works for the brand, and they don't understand the layers there. And then you get up to professors who, it's always fascinated me. It's the backseat quarterbacks. They're always willing to tell you how business works. And then you're like, okay, what have you done? And very, very few of them have actually done anything. But you take all this perception, and now when you're making a decision to get this business going in a different route, you got to navigate through all of that to say, well, wait a second, but we're actually going to be able to take a vision that we've built and give human beings opportunity to be a part of this. Yes, they're going to invest their life savings into it, but in exchange for that, they're not going to have to start something from scratch. And we've built all of these processes and foundations that is going to make them successful. And so it's such a beautiful thing, but I'm always intrigued by what the perception was before that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was interesting to me, and something that, myself and Dustin Distefano have had, further conversations on, and even tried to involve some of the IFA and having better education and understanding within the education industry, and especially at the collegiate level, is what is franchising and the need to have more courses around it.
Yeah, Mitch, what's your franchise story? How did you fall into this industry?
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been watching some of your videos that you've done so far, and a lot of folks, didn't start here or even really realize that it was an industry. That was my experience, right? My best friend growing up, his parents were KFC franchisees. And I thought it was super cool. They had great chicken, and they even had commercials on TV. I mean, wow, that's super cool. I didn't travel a whole lot, when I was growing up, and they were running that business. And I remember the first time I saw another KFC. And I'm like, Thomas, do they own that one? And he's just like, I don't think so, but I don't really know. And we were both unaware of really what was happening. And it was only till much later did I realize that this is an industry and they were franchisees there. Continue to operate that business in my hometown. And it was just, I think about that a lot now, having been in the middle of it and consumed by so much of what we get to do in the industry. It really has opened my eyes. But no, it had never been a focus of mine, even entrepreneurship. I wasn't surrounded by that other than, some examples I didn't quite understand, but had been surrounded by a lot of storytellers, salespeople, and those folks who were creating relationships with others. So that journey took me through a lot of different sales positions that were really exciting. Taught me a lot of how to communicate with people, to communicate value and try to get to what they want through guitars, which is my passion outside of work here. Making sure everybody has an instrument they can turn up real loud is an important thing to me. But ultimately, a product was a product and it was exciting. But when I got the chance to see a LinkedIn ad to start talking about, senior care franchising, the first person who stopped me was my mom, who had been in the healthcare industry forever in an administrative role. And she's just like, Mitchell, do you know where I work? I was like, well, yeah, you work at the Norfolk Veterans Home. She's like, do you know who lives there? And seniors who need care, who are veterans. You're literally entering my industry. I'd be so happy to see you follow this path. And she's been a huge supporter of me so far. So to her, the franchise still, we're getting over there, understanding that, but she absolutely was a big supporter of getting into care. And then having heard, of course, what Jerod and Dustin had built years before that was exciting. It didn't hurt that I transitioned roles in June 2020. Was very excited to get a job at that time. Not everybody had that opportunity. So I was very excited to come on and have been with us for about 3 years. First franchising role, and I'm so excited to be here.
Jerod, what's the state of the union with the brand? What's the vision for the brand?
Yeah, well, this year we have surpassed our goals. We're actually on track to have kind of checked the box of our 3-year goal. Perhaps by the end of the year, for a number of new units across the system through both current and new franchisees. So that's been huge for us. But we always continue to put time and energy and effort into making sure that our owners' lives are easier and we give them the tools that they need to be successful. So utilizing technology, utilizing AI, even virtual assistants and workers from other countries to help with costs, and just all around what we can do to make our owners even better business owners.
Are you proud of the journey so far? Can you pause and look back and say, this has been pretty cool?
Absolutely. No, it really has been quite a journey, and very thankful of just all the people who have been a part of it and all of our franchise owners. We have a really tight-knit group, and it continues to grow. But we continue to bring people around us that have the same values, have that kind of work hard, play hard culture, and that they know that we're going to do what it takes to help them to be successful. So that's been awesome. And the owners, they're more than just franchisees; they're friends. We know them, we know their family, and we try to be a part of the whole thing. So very grateful for all those experiences and new relationships and kind of everyone working together to grow. You don't really get a chance all that often to step back and kind of look at things and where you had come from. I was just kind of looking forward. So I continue to look more forward, but there's definitely some key kind of points throughout, starting the business, even before franchising, that, were very impactful, and, individual client testimonials and just some of the experiences that we've had, even with our clients or seniors, family members, and allowing them to have the kind of respite they need or the kind of time they need to do other things in their life other than be a caregiver. So some very personal kind of examples of care itself. And then, with franchise owners, just so many experiences, one after another, of people who maybe never thought they could be a business owner and now thriving and being a part of that and being a part of that journey and success with them. So it's been awesome.
Mitch, my franchise story has some similarities to your life. I showed up at a PR firm in Chicago with a leather jacket and hoop earrings and a red Mustang because I was a rock star journalist, and I was like, I get paid no money. I got to take a job in PR, so I'll make the change, and I took this job. But what I fell in love with, and it happened fairly fast. I start interviewing franchise owners, and I realize that they've invested their life savings into not only a business that they are going to have very to little control over, but they've had to go through two things. One, they had to build some wealth. And then secondly, they had to make a big decision to make a career shift. And so when I started talking to franchisees early on, not completely understanding what a franchisee is, I fell in love with them because I thought they were rock stars. Their stories of overcoming a hurdle were the same as the rock stars that built great music. What did you fall in love with when you started learning more about the franchise owner?
I think it's a really good question. There's an element of course, being a rock star, knowing, that such confidence in your decision, right? And having heard so many stories from folks who went through that same life journey, right, where they're thinking of their kids growing up and their families, what they want to do with their community, and a security of working for somebody else forever. It's what I had known all around me for quite some time. And yet they're considering this huge shift. And of course, there's fear, there's questions to be answered there, but there's just this core confidence that says, when I get up on the stage, I'm going to rock it out. People are going to be looking at me, and it's time. I've been looking at them forever, and when they do, I'm gonna rise to the occasion and just knock it out of the park. And you can hear that in someone's voice, and it's electrifying. It just it magnetizes them, and you want to go support them, cheer for them, be that person in the crowd, spotting that light on them and just saying, yeah, you can get on stage and rock it, and everyone wants to see you do well. Your family does, your kids do, your community wants that, your caregivers, the folks you in our industry connect with clients who need your help, are all there, part of that experience. And you can hear it from the first call. Though there's a lot to go through, there's always going to be that through line of like, I'm ready for this. And when I hear that on phone calls, sending them up to Jerod for later conversations, that's what gets me really excited to see them, get to the show and actually do it.
Love it. Jerod, if I think about the process of what you're touching on as a business, life, aging, and death, which all come with significant complexities. And when I'm looking at your screen right now, I see two childhood friends. And if you think about how do you navigate the challenges of life, aging, and death, you tend to rely on those around you. That starting point and how it's related back to the business and some of the core values, is that part of the magic of what you're doing? Is you're providing the support to the people that are going through, no matter what, it could be the most traumatic thing that they're going to go through in their life, or it could be a traumatic thing that they're going to have to figure out how do they navigate past and get over with time. Is some of the fundamentals of the way that you guys had a relationship when you're creating the business relates now into how you're helping families?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Dustin and I, as you see here, we been friends since fourth grade. We have a tight knit group of friends that we continue to be really good friends with. We've been in each other's weddings. It's we have their back, they have ours, and we've definitely brought that mentality forward. And I would hope not only to our franchisees but to our corporate office and those who work with us every day. As long as someone knows that you're there to do what it takes to help them out and give them the tools to succeed, that's going to help them get through those tough life circumstances. And in this case, it could be a family member in need, or it could be a franchise owner who's struggling with the area within their business that you're going to be there for. So that kind of we got your back mentality, I would say, is something that's definitely been ingrained in us and that we continue to take forward.
Mitch, when you're trying to articulate what the point of differentiation is with a place at home, how do you say you guys stand out in the crowded marketplace?
Mm-hmm. I think a recent example gets at something that I've been trying to express in a lot of different ways. Something we kind of touched on here, given a childhood friendship that spawns this business, and does that feel like the culture a franchisee buys into? A recent Discovery Day visit with a candidate coming to see our operating location was essentially expressed that they looked at multiple franchises looking for points of differentiation. And as they were calling their franchise development reps of these other brands, they were routed through any number of call trees and sent to a voicemail, given a ticket, all of this kind of, complex salesery, if you will. And eventually they got to a place at home. The phone rang, somebody picked it up and said, "Hey, I'd like to talk about, buying a franchise." And they say, "Jerod, phone's for you," and there he is on the other side of the office. And Jerod comes on, "Hey, it's president, co-founder. How can I help you?" And they're like, "Are you serious? Is this a joke?" Like, I don't understand that I could have one call and be talking to the heart of the leadership. And Jared's like, "Yep, that's me. Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk." That kind of directness is something we lean into, especially at this point of a franchisor growth. We're in an industry that's unfortunately common to a lot of families. And so the services tend to blend together. Not going to lie, there's a lot of that. But what we tend to differentiate with is the experience with our franchisees. You're going to see it. You're going to see that kind of closeness that is not a bunch of tubes connecting to finally get you to somebody. You get to the heart of what Jerod and Dustin have built very quickly.
So two main comments there. One is at the beginning of last year, we took all the franchise operators that we speak to on a regular basis and we profile them around their own openings or signings when we're doing PR for them. Mm-hmm. And we asked them two questions around what pushes you over the edge. And the final answer is only two things. It's the business model. Clearly, I need to know that what I invest in, I can get a return for. But what they put above that is culture. And Jerod, when you were just talking, you said, "We have your back." And Mitch, when you were talking, you talked about accessibility to a team. From where I'm standing, I think you guys have a tremendous opportunity. I can see it in the video that plays behind this message, but your message is not coming out and saying, one, we have your back, and two, look at the culture of what we've built around here, that we are a family of operators. And so when I'm looking at a brand, I agree with you. It's going to be very hard to find a point of differentiation in the marketplace, but you can often find that in the culture. And so you have it. If I bought your business tomorrow, I would absolutely put that message front and center as the first message that I see when I look at the business opportunity. Any comments on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it strikes me as ways to further just kind of get when you're surrounded by something so awesome, it can be hard to step out of that and give someone an opportunity to see it for the first time. Not unlike the show, the rock star metaphor we're using here, when you're in it the whole time, folks just come and they're in awe of the show. It's not always communicated the best way, but it ought to be. And it ought to be in multiple ways, not just through phone calls or through eventual visits, but, social media posts that share team building events and support from corporate staff sharing what's happening at the local level. There's a lot of ways to give that kind of presence of culture and family. Which needs to come first, right? There's all this kind of building business as you see on the screen, right? use this proven process to build that business. But as you mentioned too, that's like the second answer, right? We need that too. Well, let's also know that what we're buying into is a supportive family, and that just is something that should always be a well you draw from to get more information, video, comments, stories told. Jerod was telling me just the other day of our franchisees saying, "Look, it's a simple opportunity. All you do is tell stories of your franchisees. You just do that enough, and eventually you build that storyline of the folks doing it out in the field."
Jerod, I want to close on this. There's a ghost candidate. They're looking at this. They've listened to us. They're thinking about making the decision to fill out that form. What else do you want them to know about this opportunity that they may have not heard so far?
So we have what we call senior focused care. So it is most certainly a differentiator in our service lines and how we utilize multiple service lines to kind of really penetrate in a competitive market and go to some of those same referral sources that everybody else is going to with a different message. And so that message very much is that we're going to work together to help each other, both through staffing needs as well as helping to improve their occupancy through different assisted living communities, and then to the consumer by utilizing not only in-home care services, but the ability to help navigate them through the home care continuum, as well as outside of the home kind of medical needs. So we do bring something different to the table. If you're looking at other in-home care businesses, I would most certainly ask, what are the other revenue streams? What other potential ways and solutions do you offer to your clients out there? Because we have a very succinct system, and it definitely is different.
Love it. Well, Jerod and Mitch, thank you for sharing your story. It's a pleasure to talk to you guys. Obviously, you're doing some great things. But if anybody's thinking about this opportunity, website's on the screen. You can find the two of these guys all over the web on LinkedIn primarily. For Jerod and Mitch, I'm Nick. This is another episode of Meet the Zor.